Asheville, North Carolina, January 2000. The winter air in the Blue Ridge Mountains carries a biting chill, settling heavily over the quiet streets. For 18-year-old Zebb Quinn, a young man with a dependable routine and a bright, easy smile, the evening of January 2nd seems entirely unremarkable. He finishes his shift at the local electronics department, clocking out at 9 p.m. It is a mundane Sunday night, the kind of evening that should fade harmlessly into the fabric of a normal life. But the hours that follow will not fade. They will fracture into one of the most bizarre and unsettling mysteries in modern investigative history, leaving behind a trail of cryptic clues, a shattered family, and a chilling question. How does a young man simply evaporate into the winter night, leaving only a staged tableau of madness in his wake? The timeline leading to the vanish point is painfully brief, yet fraught with sudden, inexplicable panic. After leaving work, Zebb planned to meet his co-worker, Jason Owens. Zebb was eager to purchase a new vehicle, and Owens had agreed to accompany him to inspect a car he had seen for sale. They drove separately, two sets of headlights cutting through the Asheville darkness, heading toward a destination Zebb would never reach. The journey was abruptly halted when Zebb received a page on his beeper. He pulled his vehicle into the brightly lit parking lot of a nearby convenience store to use a public payphone. Witnesses who observed the young man at the payphone later described a violent shift in his demeanor. Whatever information was transmitted through the receiver triggered an immediate and severe panic. Zebb rushed back to his vehicle, his movements frantic and uncoordinated. In his haste to flee the parking lot, he accidentally rear-ended Owens' truck. Instead of stopping to assess the damage, Zebb simply yelled through his window that he had to cancel their plans, hit the gas, and sped away into the night. He was never seen again. The silence that followed was immediate and suffocating. When Zebb failed to return home, his mother, Denise Vlahakis, felt the icy, unmistakable grip of maternal instinct. Her son was a responsible teenager who maintained close contact with his family. He did not simply vanish without a word. The empty bedroom, the unmade bed, the profound stillness of the house, these ordinary sights transformed rapidly into monuments of dread. The psychological void left by his absence began to expand, consuming the family's reality as the hours stretched into agonizing days. Law enforcement moved swiftly to retrace the young man's final steps, focusing intensely on the catalyst for his sudden terror, the mysterious page. Investigators traced the number back to the landline of Zebb's aunt. However, a crucial and deeply unsettling detail quickly emerged. His aunt was not home at the time the page was sent, and she had not contacted him. Detectives later discovered that her house had been burglarized that very evening. Nothing of significant value was taken, but the telephone had been used. The page was not a simple message. It was a calculated lure, a phantom signal designed to intercept Zebb Quinn's life. As the search intensified, a bizarre incident occurred at Zebb's workplace, deepening the suspicion surrounding his disappearance. 2 days after he vanished, a call came into the retail store where he worked. The caller claimed to be Zebb, stating he was sick and would not be coming in for his scheduled shift. But the manager taking the call immediately recognized the voice on the other end of the line. It was not the missing teenager. It was Jason Owens. When confronted by detectives regarding the fraudulent phone call, Owens offered an explanation that strained credulity. He admitted to making the call, claiming Zebb had asked him to do it as a favor because he was skipping work. This narrative was incredibly thin, drawing the unwavering gaze of investigators toward the last known person to see the teenager alive. The investigative focus narrowed, but the physical evidence required to move forward remained entirely elusive. 2 agonizing weeks passed, with no sign of the missing 18-year-old. Then, a discovery shifted the investigation from a standard missing persons case into a surreal waking nightmare. Zebb's vehicle, a teal 1990 Mazda Protégé, was found abandoned in the parking lot of an Asheville restaurant. The car was parked adjacent to the hospital where Zebb's mother worked as a nurse, a geographical detail that felt uncomfortably deliberate, like a cruel taunt. But it was the interior of the vehicle that defied all logical explanation. The scene inside the Mazda was a chaotic, carefully staged tableau of the bizarre. Investigators found a live Labrador mix puppy, seemingly healthy but abandoned in the cold cabin of the car. Next to the restless dog lay a jacket that did not belong to Zebb, several empty drink bottles, and a plastic hotel room key card. Most chilling of all, drawn on the back window of the vehicle in bright, glaring lipstick, was a large pair of lips accompanied by a cryptic note, an exclamation mark scrawled in the same cosmetic. It was a forensic puzzle box, a collection of items so disjointed and strange they seemed designed specifically to mock the authorities. Detectives meticulously processed the vehicle, hoping the bizarre artifacts would yield a definitive suspect or a clear direction. But the physical evidence offered only frustrating dead ends. The puppy was traced to a local woman who claimed she had given the animal to an unidentified man she could not clearly describe. The hotel keycard led to no concrete suspects, and the lipstick yielded no workable DNA profile. The bizarre collection of items felt like intentional white noise, placed to obscure the brutal truth of the vanish point. Investigators were forced to grapple with a disturbing question. Was the scene the chaotic work of a disorganized mind unraveling after a violent encounter, or was it a highly calculated distraction orchestrated by a cold-blooded killer? The cryptic note on the glass offered no answers, only a silent, mocking testament to the young man's disappearance. Beyond the yellow tape of the crime scene, the Asheville community rallied to find the missing teenager. Search and rescue protocols were activated across the county. Volunteers combed through dense mountain brush, scoured local waterways, and plastered Zebb's smiling face across hundreds of flyers. But as the bitter winter thawed into a damp spring, the initial surge of hope began to wane. The posters faded in the North Carolina rain. The active, urgent search operation slowly transitioned into the grim, quiet waiting game that defines a cold case. The shadow of suspicion never fully lifted from Robert Jason Owens. Shortly after Zebb's disappearance, Owens sought medical treatment for broken ribs and a significant head injury. He claimed to detectives that he had been involved in a separate, unreported car accident later that same night. It was an alibi that law enforcement found highly suspicious given the timing and his proximity to the missing teenager. Yet despite the circumstantial weight, the strange phone call to the employer, and the conflicting narratives, authorities lacked the definitive forensic evidence required to make an arrest. The law requires undeniable proof, and the architect of Zebb's disappearance had seemingly left none. For 15 long years, the Quinn family existed in a torturous state of ambiguous loss. Denise Vlahakis became a relentless advocate for her son, refusing to let his name slip quietly into the dusty archives of forgotten cases. The agony of not knowing, of wondering if the bizarre clues left in the car held some secret message she had failed to decipher, was a heavy, suffocating burden. The family's grief was a quiet, enduring storm, anchored to the memory of a young man whose life was abruptly and inexplicably stolen. The heavy silence surrounding the cold case was finally shattered in 2015, not by a sudden confession or a newly discovered clue, but by an unimaginable act of extreme violence. Robert Jason Owens was arrested and charged with the brutal murder of a pregnant woman and her husband in Leicester, North Carolina. The horrific nature of the Codd family homicide sent absolute shockwaves through the region. This devastating event instantly reignited public and law enforcement interest in the unresolved mystery from January 2000. Armed with new momentum and the chilling, undeniable reality of Owens' capacity for lethal violence, detectives executed fresh, comprehensive search warrants on his property. They brought in heavy equipment to dig through the earth, meticulously sifting through the physical remnants of the past. While they did not locate Zebb's skeletal remains, investigators reportedly uncovered fabric, leather materials, and unknown hard fragments buried deep under a layer of concrete. The investigative net, which had hung loose for over a decade and a half, finally began to tighten around the primary suspect. In July 2017, the legal landscape of the case shifted dramatically. A Buncombe County grand jury handed down a formal indictment, officially charging Robert Jason Owens with the first-degree murder of Zebb Quinn. It was a monumental legal milestone, a formal accusation that validated the dark suspicions detectives and the Quinn family had harbored for 17 agonizing years. Yet, it was a murder charge without a body, a profound legal victory that could not erase the physical void left behind. Even with an indictment securing a measure of justice, the bizarre artifacts left in the abandoned Mazda remain a haunting enigma. The live puppy, the lipstick drawing, the unknown jacket, these items continue to defy simple, logical explanation. They are the lingering ghosts of a crime scene that refuses to make sense. Were they the chaotic, improvised actions of a killer desperately trying to throw off the police? Or were they a deliberate, psychological taunt a macabre signature left by someone who believed they had committed the perfect crime. The story of Zebb Quinn is a chilling testament to how a seemingly minor event, a phantom page in the night, an abruptly canceled meeting, can spiral into an enduring nightmare. While the justice system has finally named an architect for this tragedy, the ultimate vanish point remains shrouded in darkness, the physical location of the young man still unknown. For those who love the 18-year-old boy with the bright smile, the empty chair at the dinner table still speaks volumes, a daily reminder of the life that was taken. The mystery of that winter night in Asheville endures, a profound human tragedy marked by bizarre clues, a cryptic note, and the haunting, everlasting silence of a young life stolen away into the cold mountain air.